Christopher Steele, the author of that anti-Trump dossier, refusing to cooperate with federal prosecutors reviewing the Russia probe. Here's what former CIA Director John Brennan had to say about that dossier 2 years ago.
Do you know who commissioned the Steele dossier?
I don't.
Did the CIA rely on it?
No.
Why not?
Because we didn't. It wasn't part of the corpus of intelligence information that we had. It was not in any way used as a basis for the intelligence community assessment that was done.
But is the former CIA director still trying to keep things secret?
Fox News contributor and legal analyst Trey Gowdy, now a free man in the free world, as chair of the House Oversight Committee.
You sound like he was arrested.
Yes, no, but I'm saying now he's free to speak. Mr. Gowdy, as you looked at that witness and we watched the tape from 2017, do you really think he didn't know who did the dossier, and do you really think the CIA didn't use it?
I don't know which is worse, that he had no idea who investigated the Steele dossier. What Comey also was not familiar with Chris Steele when we asked him about him. So I don't know which is worse, that you give people all these powers and they have no idea who under them is using it, or the worst case scenario is that they may have misspoken when they gave their testimony before Congress.
So do you think they were lying, or do you think they just didn't ever ask questions as to who wrote the dossier and investigate it?
You know, I don't know, Ansley. I try really hard not to accuse people of committing crimes unless there's sufficient factual predicate for it. I know I spent a lot of time asking Jim Comey about the origins of the Russia probe. I was stunned to learn that he had no idea Peter Strzok signed the initiation document. I was stunned to know how little he knew about Chris Steele and why he was defrocked as an FBI source, but later went back to Bruce Orr. Again, I don't know which is worse, that they didn't know or that they did know and they're not leveling with us.
Mr. Chairman, if you were on the stand today and had Brennan in front of you today, what would you ask him?
I think I'd go back to the beginning. I mean, I understand why our country was really interested in what Russia was doing to us. I want to better understand when that became commingled with this belief that the Trump campaign was somehow in cahoots with Russia. So go back to the very beginning. What's the factual predicate for Russia? What's the factual predicate for believing the Trump campaign was involved? Then you're going to get into George Papadopoulos and whether or not you provided the information that you later extracted from him. Then we're going to get into FISA, the fall of 2016. Those are two separate lines of inquiry, the origins of the probe and then the FISA application. So I would go chronologically and just figure out what John Brennan knew and when. Then we'll get into his briefing of Harry Reid and whether or not that was the leak where the rest of the world learned about the dossier.
So a lot of people are saying, okay, now the Democrats are pushing back, saying we're going to unveil the ways and practices of our intelligence community, therefore compromising future investigations. So Adam Schiff is really concerned about that. But was he concerned about that last year when he asked President Obama 2 years ago, asked President Obama to declassify all the Russian information? In fact, here's one of the quotes. He says, while Trump stonewalls the public from learning the truth about his obstruction of justice, Trump and Barr conspire to weaponize law enforcement and classified information against their political enemies. The cover-up has entered a new and dangerous phase. This is un-American. Now, that's Adam Schiff today. In 2016, President Obama can and must declassify as much as possible about Russia hacking our elections. Rest assured, Trump won't. What Adam Schiff should we believe?
Neither one. Here's the thing. Schiff is an overtly ambitious, partisan, wannabe senator from California. So your expectations should be exceedingly low for Adam Schiff. What I find amusing is the duplicity with which the D.C. media covers these events. Remember in 2016 and 2017, the front page of almost every major newspaper was some leak of classified information in 2016 and 2017. They didn't care about that. Now they're concerned that Bill Barr, as he looks into the origins of this investigation, may disseminate classified information. So, Schiff, your expectations should be really low. The media, that's where you should be very disappointed in the duplicity you've seen over the last 2 years.
Yeah, it will continue. I have no doubt about that.
Right. Here's what James Comey said. James Comey, in a column today, says there was no corruption, there was no treason, there was no attempted coup. Those are lies, dumb lies at that.
Yeah, and then he also said the FBI wasn't out to get Trump.
Thoughts?
Yeah, my thoughts are 99.9% of all FBI agents are wonderful people. Unfortunately, the ones that Comey picked to lead this probe wanted Clinton to win $100 million to nothing, thought Trump was destabilizing for the democracy, promised to stop his campaign, had an insurance policy if he won, and then was more interested in impeachment than he was in figuring out what Russia did to us in 2016. So there are lots of really, really good FBI agents. Unfortunately, Comey didn't pick any of them to be involved in 2016. Whatever damage has been done to the FBI, Jim Comey looked no further than himself for that.
All right.
Thank
Trey
you, sir.
Gowdy, great to
Appreciate
see
your
you.
time.
Thank you so much.
You too.